pile of mud. I mean, that's a fair amount of gooby right there, okay? And some people say that, because we were made out of the dust of the earth and all that, and Jesus spat on the ground, and he actually created 2 eyeballs there and put 2 eyeballs in the man's eyes. I don't know about that, but it was gross anyway, in your eye, mud and all that. But actually, this was a popular remedy for blindness back in those days. People did put mud in their eyes, and then they'd go and wash in the river, and kind of a strange thing to do, whether it's that Dead Sea mud's got something in it, all the minerals and all that. I don't know, but they used to do something like that. And Jesus was employing something that kind of gelled with them, if you know what I mean. Something that was they'd done before. And so what is this all about? Let me just throw this one more. There was another one there where Jesus used gooby, and it was a guy who couldn't talk. Remember that one? And Jesus spat on his fingers and then stuck his fingers in the guy's mouth. That is gross, isn't it? I mean, seriously, has anyone ever had a wet willy? You know what I mean by a wet willy? When someone comes up, they lick their finger and stick it in your ear. Youth do that sort of thing, hey? Have you ever, come on, yeah, see, they own up. The youth know what I'm talking about. It's called a wet willy. And stick it in someone's ear. It's horrible. Alright? And here's Jesus sticking gooby fingers in someone's mouth. I mean, you're going to want to talk really quickly, aren't you? And what's the first thing you're going to say? Yuck! Get that finger out of my mouth. Disgusting, man. But it worked. Why did it work? What is this all about? I believe what's going on here, when it's laying hands on and, is sometimes you might receive prayer while you're taking medication. And I believe the Bible doesn't discourage that if that's where your faith is at. Okay? And so you might be going through a course of medication, receiving prayer, and the miracle begins to happen. You realise you don't need your medication after that, you know what I'm saying? But don't be discouraged, don't be condemned if you're taking medication. In fact, I believe medication and medicine is one of the hands by which God heals us. A lot of medical breakthroughs through the years have actually come through Christians inspired by God. And a lot of people get healed in that way, then they don't even need a miracle, right? But there's times where people have tried medicine, it hasn't worked for them, and you can receive prayer at the same time, and God will bring you through that. Amen? Number 5 is what I call immediately faith. Immediately faith. Many of the miracles of Jesus were immediate. You had that leper who came to Jesus and said, Lord, if you're willing, you can cleanse me. And Jesus said, no, not today, sorry. He didn't, did he? He said, of course, I'm willing. And immediately the leper was cleansed. Right? The woman with the issue of blood who touched the hem of his garment. The Bible says immediately the bleeding stopped. I was in Israel last year. I went to Capernaum, to the place where Jesus hung out with Peter and the disciples, and I went to Simon Peter's house. There's not much left of it, it's just ruins. And in fact, it's ruins upon ruins upon ruins. It's like foundations upon foundations upon foundations. And you can see the original house plan and how they expanded a particular room where they had early Christian meetings, and perhaps where Jesus was, and he was, teaching people and things like that. And then there was another church built over top of that, and then that was knocked down. And today there's this kind of looks like a spaceship, a UFO kind of looking church, perched over top of it with a glass bottom, and you can go and you can look down on all of this stuff through the bottom of that. But it's kind of amazing. So that's exactly where Jesus lived. This is the house in Capernaum. This is the house where it all happened, which is pretty exciting. And in this house, when Jesus turned up there one time, Simon Peter's mother-in-law was upstairs in the bedroom, sick, and there was nobody to make them a cup of tea. And they thought, this is no good. Okay, so the very first thing that they did was Jesus went upstairs, prayed for Simon Peter's mother. She was immediately raised up, and she went down and made them supper. Okay, so there's no excuses, lady. All right, when Jesus comes along, and but no, it's immediate, isn't it? Immediate miracles. I love those immediate miracles, and I like to go for the immediate. Pray for the immediate. And when the immediate happens, it's very exciting. When someone, their ear pops open, or their leg grows, or pain leaves their body. And I go for that every time. I pray for that every time. And often we see those kind of miracles happen. And, people's shoulders getting healed, legs getting healed, and stuff. It's just great. It's exciting. But if it doesn't happen immediately, I don't get discouraged at all, because then I just step into the next level of faith, or the next operation of faith, which is what I call more than once faith. More than once faith. In Mark chapter 8 verse 23, here we have it again, Jesus spat in the man's eyes and laid his hands on him and asked, "Do you see anything?" And the man said, "Well, I can see people, but they look like trees walking around. It was all blurry. I guarantee if I spat in your eye and asked you, do you see anything? It'd probably be all blurry too, right? But, and if I'd eaten broccoli for dinner that night, before I spat in your eye, you might have seen a few trees walking around too. But anyway, what happened here? The Bible says Jesus laid his hands on the man a second time. Jesus the second time. Sometimes we pray for someone and it doesn't happen, we can get all discouraged and give up. But no, Jesus himself put his hands back on him a second time. Be encouraged. If the person says, it's a little bit pain, or it's a bit better, or I don't know if anything's changed yet, just put your hand back on them a second time and keep praying. And I just see this happen so many times. You pray for someone, how's that? This guy in New Zealand who had chronic back pain for 8 years. I prayed for him. I said, "How's that?" He said, "I think it's about 2. I said, "What was it before?" He said, "It was about 5 before." He's talking level of pain. So I laid my hands back on him again, prayed, and he's like, "It seems to have dissipated. The pain has gone," and other people are just doing that same sort of thing over and over. Sometimes straight away it doesn't seem like anything's happened. Praying for a little girl with a ligament problem in her knee, a lot of pain. Didn't happen the first time, second time, poof. Just like that. And so we just keep on going. Don't give up. Keep on praying. If someone prays for you, don't get discouraged. Just keep believing. Someone will keep praying, and that's right. And even if it doesn't happen after 1 or 2 prayers, that's okay, because then we can move into the next level of operation of faith, which is just shall recover faith. All right? The Bible says all the people that Jesus prayed for were healed, but not all of them immediately. Remember there was 10 lepers who came to Jesus? And Jesus said to the lepers, "Go show yourselves to the priests." And the Bible says, as they went, they were healed. In fact, they must have gone some distance, because only one of them bothered to come all the way back to Jesus to thank him for the miracle. And there's other ones there. The centurion that I was talking about, it actually goes on to say that his servant was healed that same hour. That could mean immediately, it could mean a little bit later. Amen. There's another one in John chapter 4, a nobleman who came to Jesus. His son was dying, and Jesus said, "Your son shall live." And when he got home, he inquired of the servants the hour he began to amend. Okay? And so something happened there. At a certain time, he started getting better. And that can happen like that as well. So our healing could be immediate. Our healing could be a few seconds. It could be a few minutes. Could be 10, could be half an hour, an hour. I was praying for a girl in Yeppoon who had a growth in her eye, and her eye was blurry and didn't seem like anything had happened straight away, but I'm not fazed by that, because I believe what the Word of God says: lay hands on the sick, they'll recover. So I went to lunch. When I was at lunch, the pastor got a phone call from this girl's mother. She's healed. About an hour later, her eye was healed. Pretty cool, eh? I was in New Zealand and I'd been preaching there, and I prayed for a man who had growths all down the side of his body. I didn't actually come back. I only was in one meeting, and it was 6 months later when I heard the story. I came back. The man woke up the next morning and all the growths were gone. Pretty cool, eh? But shall recover. There's other people I've prayed for, and I've come back sometime later, and they've come and said to me, I had diabetes, and you prayed for me, I've been healed. I had liver problems, I've been healed. I've had this, I've been healed. I had crippled feet, my feet are better. All these neat things. And you hear about it because God has done something over a period of time. It might have been a short period of time, it might have been a reasonable period of time. But sometimes we receive prayer, and there's people who have had someone pray for them, and then they don't feel any change in their symptoms or circumstances, and then they'll foolishly say, nothing happened. They'll think and say, nothing happened. Don't ever do that. Because when you speak that out, right there, your faith is deflated and your healing is aborted. It's what had begun in you. It's like you cancel it. It's like, no, I don't believe it. It's not happening. And you throw it away. If you go to your doctor to get, you're sick, the doctor examines you, he writes you a prescription. You go to the chemist, the pharmacy, you get a medication, you go home and you begin to take your medication. After taking one pill and you don't see any change in your symptoms or circumstances, you don't go, oh, these are a waste of time, and chuck it in the bin, do you? No, even after a few pills, you still may not see any change in your symptoms or circumstances. It might not be until you've taken the whole course of medication, but then the next day you wake up and the fever's left or whatever. You've gone through a course of medication, but you haven't given up going through that course of medication. When you come out for prayer, it's like you're receiving all your medication at once. It's just whether or not you unpack it all, whether or not you receive it all and have it fully outworked in you. Some of us need to take a pill every day after we receive prayer. A gospel pill, that is. All right? Because sometimes discouragement comes and thoughts come and your symptoms don't seem to be lined up with the promises, so you just got to keep speaking the promises until your situation lines up with the promises of God. Amen? I love it, in Africa, I've had stories of people coming to meetings. There was one particular lady who was testifying on the final night of the crusade. She came the first night, she could barely breathe and barely speak. She had chronic stomach and chest pain she'd had for years. And she said, when she was testifying, the first night of the crusade, I felt something happen and I started getting better. I came back every crusade, every night, because 5 nights. She came back every night. She said each night it got better and got better, and by the final night she was on the platform testifying, free from pain, strong, clear voice, healed. Amen. One of the stories, miracles, one of the miracles that really inspires and encourages me, that it wasn't one of my miracles, but it's one that you can see on YouTube, and if you want to write this down, it's the healing of Delia Knox. And Delia Knox was a pastor's wife, and she got hit by a drunk driver and paralyzed. She was in a wheelchair for over 20 years. Now you can imagine this, right? Someone, a pastor's wife, in a wheelchair. How many people do you think have laid hands on her through the years, eh? How many people have anointed her with oil even perhaps through the years? She's still in a wheelchair. And you could imagine her faith had been bit deflated, being discouraged, perhaps kind of thought, well, maybe this is my lot in life. I don't believe sickness is anybody's lot in life. Amen. And so she was in the meeting and sitting there in the wheelchair, and the evangelist came. You know what the first thing that he prayed? He said, God, let faith rise. Let faith rise. Because her faith's been flattened out, Let faith rise. And then as they're praying and laying hands on her feet, on her legs, she had not just no movement, no feeling or anything. And they're laying hands on her leg, and suddenly she goes, I can feel that. I can feel that. And as they were touching her leg, I can feel that. I can feel that. So she had healing, the feeling come back. Now you could think someone praying for the sick would go, yay, Delia Knox got feeling back in her legs tonight. That's so awesome. Yay, let's go home. But they didn't stop there, of course, because God was doing something, wasn't He? She obviously had her spine healed so that there was now feeling back in her legs. So they thought, well, let's go for it. She thought, well, let's go for it. I'm not going to just stop. I'm not going to stop halfway through a miracle. And so she's sitting here in a chair, and she's got, somebody here. They've got the evangelist, the pastor, and some other people standing by. She wanted to stand up. And they've got the video on her, and she's up on the big screen there, and everybody in this whole auditorium is watching what's going on. And so Delia Knox gets up. When she gets up, the whole church is like, yay! And she just goes straight back down again. And the whole church goes, oh. and it's some people you could imagine looking on, a little bit skeptical. It's like, oh, leave the poor woman alone, you know. Just, this is embarrassing. Just stop it. But they didn't stop. And they kept praying because they believed God was doing something. And she believed God was doing something. So a little bit later, again, she wants to stand up. So while they're praying, she's like, okay, we'll have another go stand. She's got a person either side of her, right? Up she comes. And she's like wobbly. Because she hasn't used those legs for 20 years.